Right guys, today we're back, season 2 starts now. We did a big announcement a couple of weeks ago saying that at this time I'd be co-presenting with my friend Jordan Burrows. Great to have you on board, buddy.
Yeah, really excited for it again. Like you just said, we're going to have some good guests on. I'm looking forward to getting into it and finding some more out about the guests. I was on the other side of the coin last time around, so hopefully I can pose some interesting questions this time.
You know, brilliant. And like Jordan just said there, it might be a bit different this time. It's going to have a little bit more of a light-hearted feel about it. We'll be bouncing off each other and hopefully you can enjoy that as well. Today we're starting with Martin Woods, ex-Scotland international, had a fantastic career, played for some local clubs in and around this area that might relate to a few of you as well, so that'll be brilliant. I'm looking forward to poking and prodding, and hopefully we can get some good stories about his journey that will relate to some of the viewers that are watching, and they can learn a lot from it. Right, cheers Woodsy, thank you very much for coming in. I don't know if you've watched any of ours before, the last episodes with Buzzer, but they can be a bit of a snowfest, or some people enjoy them. Basically what we're doing is we're trying to normalise the majority. You know, football gives some people the best things in life, some of the best moments, some cars, you see Instagram world of all these celebrities, but there's a lot that don't. There's a lot of people that have the setbacks, have the knockbacks and don't recover from them, and that's kind of where my business, Jail Resilience, is trying to come in. We're trying to touch base with as many people across as we can and trying to help as many people as we can. There's loads of people that have come to us and said, oh, I had this happen to me when I was this and I packed in, or etc, etc. So what we're trying to do is get with as many pros, ex-pros, semi-professional people and talk about their journey. Really light-hearted, really easy going, and then if people watch it and go, oh, that happened to me, I can pick from that, this happened, yeah, brilliant, you know what I mean? And then it, like I say, trying to help as many people, boys, girls, up and down country.
Great idea.
Alright.
Yeah, great idea.
So we'll go straight into it, Buzzer, with Woodsy. Started off in Scotland, from Scotland, and then came down to England. Tell us about it, first club that you had.
I come back a while, haven't we? Yeah, so I was at Celtic as really young. I went into Celtic when I was 11. Which I'm a Celtic fan, so it was big. It was big. Like my dad was obviously, I think he was buzzing more than me. So it was great. Loved it in there, but it came to an age where Celtic weren't allowing me to play with like Scotland and your counties, and they wouldn't allow MD into any of the games apart until you'd got to 16, when you were then tied up.
Right, okay.
So it got to the age where it was either sign something called an S form, which means you're tied up till you're 16 and nobody else gets to see you, then they make a decision on you but nobody else has seen you, so it was like all in their co-op type thing. So I wanted to play with Scotland, but I also had a dream of coming down to England, which was such a big thing for us to kind of take a step away from Celtic, because as I said, it was my dream to play with them. That was still a dream throughout my career, that would have been the pinnacle for me. I'd have loved it. Just wasn't good enough in the end up, but that was my full dreams and aspirations, was to play with Celtic fully. So to walk away from them at that age to hopefully see if I could come back later down the line. That was.
So how old was you when you walked away from
I walked away at 14. I then started going to clubs in England, played with Scotland, and then loads of clubs in England kind of came on to get me down on trial. So I started then doing the rounds of a lot of clubs in England, like I went down to Man City, Man U, Liverpool, Leeds, which I ended up signing. All the kind of big ones I went down to at that age. And then eventually I decided to sign with Leeds when I was, I agreed to sign when I was 15, and I moved down on my 16th birthday.
Right, and what was that, just Dick's?
That was a hostel with all the boys at the training ground, which was brilliant. Great banter. I was a young one, so I got absolutely like battered to pillar to post every single night. It was like young v old fights, carnage. So I was the one that get picked on the most. So that was a wee bit of rude awakening.
I think the thing for me, looking at it from football, what was it like you playing for Celtic in Scotland and then you come down to England and play for Leeds? What was the standard like in terms of the football?
The standard at Celtic was good. Overall in Scotland, Celtic and Rangers, as you know, is the big two. And they're streets ahead of all the rest, really.
Yeah.
So to grasp a standard of Scottish football, which later on in my career we can go back to later, when I went up there, you get a grasp overall of the standard isn't that great lower in the league.
Yeah,
right, okay.
In the same league, which is weird, but it's like splitting 3 leagues, I feel.
Well, the league don't lie really in that respect, does it? You know, you have Celtic, Rangers,
20,
even between them,
30 points ahead.
Yeah,
and then you'll have a section, and then you'll always see the same ones kind of battling out a lot of the time. Some will go up, some will go down, but it's majority of them same clubs. Not many of them will break into that top 6 if the top 6 ones are doing it right.
Yeah.
Your Hibs, Hearts, Celtic, Rangers. Dundee United's a big club normally, but you've got Motherwell can dip in and out. There's a lot of kind of clubs.
What about at 14 though?
At 14, mate, there's, say when you started going away with Scotland, you did see a big difference in some of those lads that would, predominantly the full squad would be from Celtic and Rangers.
Yeah.
So you would see a big difference in the standard. And you need to be outstanding at those clubs to get into a Scotland setup, because the youth teams in Celtic and Rangers, obviously they dominate as well.
Yeah, they take all the best players.
Aye, so.
But even like for me now, obviously, you know, we all play in the same league at the minute, but I travel down to Kidderminster and stop over a couple of nights a week, and you've done it before, you've done it yourself. Like, to do that at 16-year-old it's a big commitment to move, because I'm guessing, did you come down on your own? Did family move down with you?
Yeah, it was daunting, mate. Moved down on my own, 16, and I miss people, but the good thing about it was I had 20 odd boys in the same boat.
Yeah.
Irish, Scottish, some of the English boys that couldn't go back home and stay at home, like in the youth team at the time, James Milner, he would still stay in the hostel.
Right.
But he would only be like 20 minutes for his house, but they wanted everybody in the same area, in the same building. So we had house parents, and I'd imagine it was challenging for them keeping my grasp on all the boys, because honestly it was mental. I couldn't even go into these, some of the stories a bit X-rated, so it was nuts. But as the youngest there, if I was struggling a wee bit, there was always somebody to pick you up.
Yeah.
Like I had older, I know they said they battered us and all the rest of it, that was just out of banter, and I loved it. I loved that kind of crack, but they would always kind of look out for you. And some of them, I mean, my 2 best mates at the minute were from that hostel. Matt Cogallan, who's now retired, used to play with Leeds and Sunderland, and a boy, Chris Kamara, who's he's a fireman now, who didn't have a career, and they ended up, he played for a few years kind of non-league. But they're 2 guys.
That's how close you are in the hostel.
And it felt that way, mate, where I still keep in contact with, I reckon still keep in contact with about 12 to 14 of their boys.
Yeah.
Just for them, just because we're all in it the same. We struggled through it, we helped each other out, we had a laugh.
Saw it all together, ups, downs, everything. Like you say, your friend's not had a career, you've had a really good one, they've gone on a bit more. So yeah, you've seen it all. But then, for you to then progress in England, and then obviously my first memories of you were at Doncaster, and I always say it to Jimmy O'Connor now, who's my assistant manager, we used to have to ball boy for the first team, and in that team, like, you were a hell of a team at Doncaster, so you kind of, that were probably halfway through your career, wasn't it, at Doncaster when they was in the Championship, and we was like, I used to come and watch them all the time, and I remember seeing you for the first time thinking like, wow, this is a serious team, this Donny team. And like, would you consider that as being one of your like best teams that you've played in?
The most enjoyable team I've played in, definitely. The most I've enjoyed football, just with the way the manager wanted to play, the group of lads that they were all so open and honest with each other and on the same page, I think, both like mentally and in the way that we played football. So it was superb, really, in that sense. But that was definitely probably the most I've enjoyed playing football at that stage, just before my injury, really.
Would you say that like the Championship was obviously, like me and you always say, don't we? It's a dream of ours to like play as high as we can. But I always say about a level, don't we? Like I know my aspirations of what I think I can play at and the reality of what I actually can play at is two different things. But did you ever
dream big,
did you ever feel at the time that you was like, do you know, I'm going to go Prem, or didn't you know?
Well, I played in the Prem for Sunderland for 10 games, which I was not prepared for whatsoever. Like mentally, I was miles off it. Like I didn't want to go on in games. I'm sitting there on the bench and I was just feel myself shrinking, thinking, please don't look round at me.
Yeah.
So mentally I wasn't prepared for it because I was a young boy, I was just turned 19, and I wasn't ready for it whatsoever. So Mick McCarthy was unbelievable with me, but I needed that experience just for to learn and be comfortable. So the difference in me from that stage at Sunderland not wanting to go on to then at Doncaster, I had no issue. I'm not saying I'd have been good enough for the level, but I'd have been more up for it and I'd been prepared, because at Sunderland it was literally every time I got on it was don't give the ball away, play safe. The fear just set in.
Yeah.
Like I felt as if a good game was I never gave the ball away.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've made about 10 5-yard passes and not had any impact in the game whatsoever. To then at Doncaster it was like gutted if not set a goal up, scored or had a big impact in the game. To then you're thinking, if you get that chance again, I'm not sure if I'd have made it work or not, but I'd have certainly been in a better place mentally to give it a good crack.
Yeah.
You've listed some real good players there in your Leeds team that you played with, haven't you? Kilgallen, Milner. So did they progress before you then in the first team? Because you said you struggled with a little bit of confidence when you went to Sunderland, you want to just keep it safe. Was that not? Did you not see them doing so well and thinking, I'm all right now. I could hold my own at Sunderland after seeing how good they were.
Well, Killer's a couple of years older than me. He's different. He had that, that kind of mentality where it was. He knew what he was good at. Like he had good guys around him, obviously, but Milner was a different animal altogether. Like I mean, in 16, it was like he went over. He took his chance straight away.
He played when he was 16, didn't he?
Yeah, when he went over 60, and I'm thinking at that time, well, I'm doing better than you in the youth team. Do you know that kind of thing?
Yeah.
But he went over with no fear, and I think that's the big difference in football. When you've not got the fear, I went over to training in Leeds and I'm thinking again, can I just build, like, can I get them to like me? Can I tell daft stories to get them to like me?
Yeah.
Like he was going over there going, I'm having this. I'm going to take
the best player.
And you could do it every day that he worked. You could see it in him where it was. He'd go and he'd be doing it. I'd do extras on the park, as in practice free kicks, practice penalties, practice shooting, practice corners, whatever it may be. I'd do all that. I was always fit, but he took it another level, like well before me, in the sense of sports science. He was in the gym blasting out everything. You could see it in him. He was well developed. As soon as he got in, he had legs. His core was ridiculous. He was just a step ahead mentally, and I think in football that is the biggest thing.
And that, I think, like what you've just touched on there, is what we say to loads of people, and especially myself. Over the last 6 months, I've been into loads of youth teams, and you see people, and I believe that most people have a skill set, have an ability, but like you say, I was the same when I used to go on trial or whatever it looked like. You go in and you think a successful training session is not being the one that messes up a passing drill, not being the one that does a possession drill, but you've not done anything to catch anybody's eye. You've not gonna. So trying to tell young people to kind of play with shackles off is a lot easier than them actually doing it, because in football the statistics speak for themselves. The fear of failure is massive because the margin for error is so tiny and the margin for success is so tiny. It's so hard to kind of get through to young lads, like, you've just got to go for it, but ultimately they have.
Yeah, obviously we'll go on to it a bit later, but when I've started coming in with the youth team here and stuff, there's a couple of lads where you can see that they've got a real good chance, and you're like, how can you just get the shackles off them just to go, and every time they go over to the first team, that's just off. Like, give me the ball. I've gave it away, right, give me it again. I'm
going to play. I want to play. I don't want to start Saturday. Trying to get that mentality into an 18-year-old kid.
It's difficult, but
you looking on it now as a coming towards the end of your career, us looking on it as 30-year-old, going, no, that's what I should have done, is a lot easier than actually sitting down with these kids and going, no, I promise you, the manager wants to see you do it. Like, whereas they're thinking, no, I just want to kind of go through the motion.
And that you can see some that they're like, do you know what, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. There's one boy in particular, I won't mention his name because it wouldn't be fair, but There's one boy in particular, and I see it in him. And I joined in with training last year when I didn't have a club. I joined in with the youth team, and he's came in behind me and gave me a wee smash from behind. I thought, mate, like, I'm in here as a coach. You've gave me a bit from behind. Like, I passed the ball, he's nowhere near it, but he's made sure that I know he's there.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm having that, mate.
Yeah, fair play.
You can see it in all his play that he doesn't care who he's playing against.
No.
He's just having it's just, and that's what I'm saying with that elite mentality that Milner had. If you can set that in stone, there's loads of tools out there. You do that now, where you can get that help, where there's people you can talk to, what you're just setting up here to listen. People can maybe relate to it, but there's no need for it to have that feel. Like go and express yourself.
This is an enjoyment. This is what we said. This the main reason we set it up. I play football, I travel up and down the country and always have done because I enjoy it. It's what I want to do.
Yeah.
If I didn't get paid for it, I'd probably be going to play for a local team, play five-a-side mates because of what we want to do. Whereas now I feel like, because it's so structured and so rigid and there's pressure from all different types of angles, and you'll have had it from parents, yourself, so wherever it looks like, I feel like kids nowadays are just like, oh God, I have to be the best, I have to succeed, whereas there's no enjoyment in the game.
Yeah.
For
Just
us.
trying to allow them to give that. Just go and express yourself.
Yeah.
You'll make mistakes. Go and get the ball back. Get it again. Go and make the same mistake. You'll learn when to kind of play the right passes as you go. But the worst thing you can do is start hiding and start playing safe. For me, I think you're going to get so much more leeway, as you know, as a young guy, if you just go and have a proper go.
Yeah.
The thing is, you took exception to me catching you a little bit late though, didn't you, when we played?
I did, mate.
Right.
I was
You
raging
liked
when
it when the youth team did it to you, was that when I did it?
No, in an actual game.
So obviously we could sit here and talk all day about your career, Woods. You played for some great clubs, you've had lots of appearances, but if you were to pinpoint one moment, what would you say your career high has been? Obviously a lot of my channels is kind of talking to people and going, how did you suffer with that, how did you deal with that setback, but what was your high? What was one moment that you look back on when it's all said and done and go, yeah, that was my best bit?
I think making my debut in the Premier League was obviously a dream. But did I enjoy it? No, I never enjoyed it, mate, because I didn't allow myself to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy the moment, as I've just spoke about.
And if you could go back now, would you do anything just to be running around free as a bird, smiling your head off?
Exactly that. It's a shame at that stage where I didn't make the most of it, but I mean, everything pans out for a reason. You've got to just got to crack on. Don't feel sorry for yourself that, oh, I might never get that chance again. That's gone. Do you know what I mean? Let's see what else you can go and achieve. But at that stage, that was obviously my dream to do that, so that would be a standout moment for me.
Yeah.
But I know that deep down I wasn't really thoroughly enjoying it and making the most of it.
Probably not even present in the moment, just kind of just going through emotions in a sense, like you said, I just don't want to mess up so that I get another opportunity.
It's still some achievement looking back now, though, isn't it? Thinking about, blimey, I've played in the Premier League. Like you must look back now and think, I'm proud. I'm really proud.
That was
proud of that.
It was an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
Look, being able to tell people, but did you really play in the Premier League? Like, as in me as a player, what I would say, like as a player, me.
Is it because you didn't feel like you expressed what you could do?
Yeah,
Is that
definitely. That's where why I'd say that, mate. Where I struggle to accept that. Did you really play at that level as me as a player?
Yeah.
Did I earn to play there, really? Or
Yeah.
I know I was doing certain things in the resis because I didn't have fear, so that's why I got the chance. And that, like Mick McCarthy says, he'd put me in there. He'd signed me for Leeds that summer when Leeds were in Championship. Sunderland won the league.
Right.
He seen something in me for my performances, but that was at a level where I didn't have fear. So that's why I'm saying to you, with the mentality side of things, it's everything in this game.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's absolutely everything. If you can't control that, then you're never going to be able to show your full self. But probably the time where I've thoroughly enjoyed it the most, mate, was probably two moments. Being part of the team with Doncaster in the Championship and being able to stay there and consistently be there and feeling fully confident in the moment where I didn't care who I played against, no matter if it was, like, I know I missed a penalty against Newcastle, but if it was in Newcastle, I didn't care. Going there, I backed myself to go and do well at the level.
A good team, you thought you were going to be just as good as anybody on the pitch.
I felt that, so having that feeling was worth more than anything, you know what I mean? The feeling of, I'll back myself here to go and do well. And then probably going up to Scotland after fighting through everything that we'll go into in a bit. Fighting through my injuries, going up to Scotland, then winning the League Cup up there, which was big, obviously, as we've spoke about with Celtic and Rangers being up there. that was a big moment as well.
So just on that, I know you just briefly touched. I'll flip it on its head then with the next question. Career lows. Obviously, you've just touched that you've had some injuries. Go for it.
Yeah, 2.5 years out injured at Doncaster, and that was at a moment where I just had a call up to go away with Scotland in the summer, first team. So that was at a moment where everything was looking great for me, to then me having basically 2.5 years out. Like the
How old would you have been then this time?
I was 25, 26, mate.
You'd probably say like you're coming into your
100%. And that's why I said to you at that moment when I was playing against teams, I felt fully ready. That was me there. I was in the moment. To then having the biggest setback ever and having 2.5 years out with operation after operation, that was a big struggle for me mentally. I went to like a dark place. I won't hide back for saying that. I was really struggling. Couldn't eat at times, like having panic attacks. I was really in a bad place. Internally, I wouldn't speak to MD about it. Outside it was my missus to see that. I wasn't long with her, to be honest, and we ended up having a kid on the way, to me having all the pressure to go, and I don't know if I can see a way back here. How am I going to provide?
Yeah.
How am I going to provide?
And for someone like yourself, Woodsy, who's, you know, coming over to England at age of 14, trying to hash your career out, doing really well for yourself, and then getting to 25, 26 year old and then thinking, because you've done it yourself recently, you have operations, you have injuries, you start thinking, am I going to be as good? Am I going to, you know, the dream of playing for the Scotland first team.
And the answer, Joe, inevitably was no. I've never been as good like after. I've never been, and you learn ways. I don't know if you've had to learn different ways, man, that of coping and finding a new you, and having to let the old you go, and that dream's gone.
Almost having two careers in one.
Aye, mate. It has been like that, and that's fine. You've got some. When you get a lot, it just came to me a lot earlier. Some guys who past 30, they need to reinvent themselves. A different player, maybe as a striker, you could chase a challenge. Now you're like you would be a target man.
I've never really chased challenges.
So you're just a target man. So sometimes you need to reinvent yourself. It just came to me a lot earlier, and I wasn't prepared for it whatsoever. Like mentally, there was no coping mechanisms back then. You didn't want to speak to MD about it.
You never felt that you had an opportunity to talk out, to kind of get any help, or was it just kind of bottle it all up? I'll be back. I'll be fine. 2.5 years later, like you say, reinvent the wheel.
Aye. In that stage, you're trying to be a good teammate. Day to day, which I've seen you suffer lately, like you're still being there and you're present and you've worked hard.
The thing is as well, when you're a big personality, we touched on it on Jordan's podcast, because obviously we shared a dressing room. There's a pressure on you to still be the same, Woodsy.
Yes.
Come in and smile and everyone wants to have a laugh.
I was fake.
Yeah.
I was fake through it. I'd smile, I'd still have my banter, I'd go on my nights out with the boys, hide it all, but then get back home and I'm like, wow. Like it's just fake, really.
Yeah.
Still love my mates, still spent time with my mates, but it wasn't fooling me for two and a bit year, where I was like really, really worried about my career, really worried financially, thinking what am I going to do. I was very young. So if you're going from one moment to Doncaster knocking back bids for me, for big clubs, getting deals put to you, like saying if they accept the bid, it'd be like 5-year deals, this, that, talking wages, you're going right, Scotland.
It's there, innit? It's there.
To go from one extreme there to then 2.5 years later going, wow, I'm struggling to move here.
I'm out of contract. I'm
stiff
changing.
as a board.
Yeah, I'm stiff as a board. I'm changing the way I play. Like.
Aye. I went to Barnsley. I signed back at Donny after my injury. They signed me in a month-to-month contract. I had a couple of good games, as you do as you come back after so long out. Couple of good games, couple of bad games. Went to Barnsley, and that last 6 months of the season, mate, that was the start of a struggle, a different struggle. It was I ain't going to be the same again. Like I work really hard. I've worked really hard the full time. It might take me. You've still got a glimmer of hope that you'll get back to who you are, but I think deep down I knew that things weren't moving right. Things just weren't.
Didn't feel the same.
Didn't feel the same, mate. I couldn't get. Like I used to be like really like. I'm still energetic, but do you know that like a rat like in midfield? I'd get close to people. I'd feel as if like I could run off people all day. To then think that I'm a bit stiffer, like.
Yeah.
Which is it does to MD after that long out, I suppose, mate.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, ultimately what happened then for the back end of it is you've bitted and bobbed about, you've gone to a few different clubs, like you say, you probably never found the home and the standard of playing that you had and the happiness that you had at Donny with people knocking back moves for you and stuff like that. And then later on in your career, you've transitioned into non-league football. How have you found that? Because we've been in around it all our lives, haven't we? And it's all we know and we enjoy it, but not everyone enjoys it.
No, I do enjoy it, mate. I enjoy the lads are my type of boys, mate. They have the crack, but the boys that I play with at the minute, they work really hard as well.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go to a rabble that it's like all just a shambles, everybody's boozing after the game. Like, I know some boys have a couple of pints after games if they've no choice.
But you still want a professional setup, you still want people to take it serious.
Which
it is. The Conference North, like, it's probably best it's been, you know, for a few years, hasn't it now, and you've got some big clubs in. A lot of teams are talking about going hybrid and full-time and all that. So it is a miles better standard than what it has been previously. But what I meant more is I've spent some time with like lads that have had great careers that have come non-league and gone, oh, I can't handle working and getting in car and what's this training at night time? What we're training at night time for?
With all due respect, we've used to been playing at a certain level, whereas you've been up there and then you've obviously stayed up there and then you've come down. So that we're interested in thinking, how have you found it coming into that kind of environment?
Coming for came for the Scottish Premier League down to Halifax, so that was my first taste of it.
Which is still a big.
It was different. It was, and
Still full-time.
Don't get me wrong, mate. It took me off guard for the first stage of the season. I'm like, it was COVID year. That's why I moved back down to be with my family. So I moved back down from Scotland to the COVID year. So I'm turning up at grounds like your Maidenhead, you're like, no disrespect, like loads of places where you're like no fans for a start.
It's not Sunderland.
No, mate. But when you go for like, I know it's no real, because I was at Dundee, mate. It's not as if it's like a massive club. It's a decent enough club. But you're going for playing maybe Celtic and Rangers to then the next year you're going to Maidenhead and there's no fans whatsoever, like because of COVID. And you're turning up at the ground going like, aye, right. This is banter. This surely like this. Everything's dead. So you've just got to adapt, mate.
Yeah, of course. And this is what we say about these young lads all the time. Like, you might be 21-year-old and really well thought of by your club, but you go out on loan to a local team round here. There is no fans. The pitches are horrendous. The change rooms aren't swanky like you used to all the way through. And that can kill people's careers because they can't mentally get themselves in a position where they go, I'm going to smash this because I know this is not where I want to be. I'm going to smash it so I can be there. They just see it as, oh my God, what's this? Crumble, don't have the right mindset, and then fall out of the game. And they're actually half decent players, but they've just not been able to cope with the differences in the levels.
You've got to need to, there's that moment in everybody's career, I think, that you've got to then stand up and be counted and go, do you know what, if I don't do it now, then I might have missed my chance. Because I had it at Rotherham when I left Sunderland, where it was a kind of moment where played games in the Premier League to then drop into League One to a team that had just been hit with a points deduction, to then it was a kind of, I could have felt sorry for myself and probably did in pre-season and thinking, oh, I've not got something in the Championship at the time, but I had no games under my hat at that stage. So that was my kind of moment where it was, right, okay, that's happened, like put it to bed, it's either sink or swim now. So
is that when you said, like, I know we're going back again, but is that when you say you found that confidence in yourself when you went to Rotherham?
100%.
That's when, because you said you didn't at Sunderland, you were a bit.
It came with games, Jordan. It came with games, mate. It came with just playing games there and playing with men and understanding what football's about. You're trying to earn. They're earning for the families. So at that stage, I didn't have a family, but I could see it in their faces how much that's proper. Do you know what I mean? At that stage, I was narrow-minded. It was Leeds and Sunderland. Like it's like
massive,
mate. Aye, so
sugar-coated world, innit? Like you see these lads now at under 23s clubs earning ridiculous amounts of money and never played a first team game, never really understood the true meaning of 3 points, like you say, people playing for contracts coming up to end of year, etc. And then you go into it and it's like a reality shock for you. And that's got to be a sink or swim moment.
That's what I mean, the moments, and you've gone back to about these lads that maybe struggle with dropping down, they've got great ability. Go and show it, go and play the games and go and show how good you are, but you're going to work hard at it, because yous all work hard. you ain't going to give MD a wee easy ride.
No.
So you might have more talent than some of the lads.
They're not getting my shirt. That's how we think, don't we, now? You're not getting my shirt.
Yeah,
exactly that. Because you're proud and like you're good players as well as good players at the level. So you might think you're good, but go and earn it. Go and earn it, just like everybody else needs to, because you've got aspirations to go higher, imagine. So it's like, you're not going to just let some wee guy come in and take your shirt because he thinks he can do 6 Cruyffs in a row and
he's attached to a Premier League club or a Championship club. We don't give anybody the divine right, and this is what we say to all these young lads. You know, you've all got a skill set, you've all got ability, but you've hit the nail on the head. You've got to go and play games. You've got to go and hit 50, 100 games at a level. If you're good enough, people see you, then you'll find your way.
And don't think you'll get away with it with talent. Like, every single day, work as hard as you possibly can. I know that might sound like it's just a one of the comments, mate. It's nonsense. But see, if you don't every day, what chance have you got? Like,
so, what's next for you then? You're obviously coming towards the back end of your playing career. Don't know how long you've got left. Do you see yourself coaching, managing?
Yeah, I've started coaching. I've started helping out with Brackman now that the manager left. I've started, Gaz Dean's asked for my help to do it there with him. So I've started doing that. I've done a degree. I've tried to get a kind of wider.
Gaz trying to get you to go long ball like he likes, or is he trying to let you play?
He's trying to play in a way that suits the league, as you imagine.
Sign Jod then, because
big man,
you've got to show it to him, yeah.
He'd suit lovely. So just finding different ways, but I do see myself coaching and management, but I don't want to just narrow it down to that's all I want to do. I've tried to kind of widen my skill set, doing different things like degree and doing my badges, doing my talent IDs, doing everything I possibly can off the park to give myself the best kind of opportunity. Aye, because that's all I do is stay in football, and I feel as if being a decent enough guy over the years that no matter what I take that into, that skill set's everything in this game. I feel as if you're a sound guy, people can relate with you, get on with you, and they know you're honest and upfront, then whatever opportunity comes up, I feel as if I'll make it work, no matter. Make it work. So you're going to get the Brackley job with Gaz did. Gaz wants to play
Jord,
and you're also going to carry on playing.
And you're going to shell it and get off his seconds. But no, mate, it's been great. Thank you very much for giving your time, because I know you're super busy with all your coaching you're doing with Donny Academy and stuff like that. But to wrap it up, we are asking each guest to come and sign a shirt for us. We're doing a little bit of a a little shirt like that. Just put a little signature on it for us. That'd be great. But hope everyone's enjoyed it. First time we've done it together, so we'll probably get better, mate, won't we?
Let's hope so.
We're jumping in on each other's toes, trying to stay alive.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much for coming.
No, anytime. That was great.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.